Today, we're jumping into one of the all-time great rivalries. I'm talking about a legendary battle of wits, a true intellectual chess match. On one side, you've got the world's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes. And on the other, the criminal mastermind pulling all the strings from the shadows, Professor Moriarty. So let's set the scene. We're in Victorian London, a city just full of secrets. It's this maze of dark alleys and foggy streets, and yeah, crime is everywhere, but something's different. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill stuff. The crimes are organized. They're precise, almost surgical. It really feels like some invisible hand is orchestrating the whole thing.
And that's the big question, right? Who could possibly be behind a criminal network this huge? This sets the stage perfectly for our two main players. You've got the one guy who can actually see the pattern in all this chaos, and then you've got the genius who's creating that pattern to begin with.
All right, let's dig into this shadowy world. The stage for this epic showdown is London's criminal underworld, and right in the middle of it all is a detective who knows how to navigate it better than anyone. And here he is, Sherlock Holmes. Now you have to understand, while Scotland Yard is busy chasing down obvious clues like footprints and witnesses, Holmes, he just sees the world on a whole different level. From his iconic flat at 221B Baker Street, he's taking on the cases that stump everyone else. And he's not doing it with brute force. He's doing it with the sheer power of his mind. So what's his secret weapon? It's all about deduction. For Holmes, the tiniest, most insignificant detail can tell you a person's entire life story. Think about it. A scuff on a boot, the specific ash from a cigar, a tiny stain on a coat. To us, that's just nothing. To him, it's like reading a book that no one else can even see. That's his genius. And because he could see these things, he started to notice something nobody else did. As he's solving all these different cases, he starts seeing connections, faint threads linking crimes that seemed totally random. And that's when it hits him. He's not just fighting a bunch of separate crooks. No, he's up against one single brilliant mind, a massive web with a very, very dangerous spider sitting right in the middle. So who's the spider? That brings us to the guy who built that web. Let's meet the genius on the other side of the board. Holmes called him the Napoleon of crime. And honestly, that description is spot on. We're not talking about some common thug here. This is about grand strategy, about pure intellect. It's like the ambition of an emperor, but for the world of crime. You could almost say he's the dark version of Holmes, a total genius who uses his brain for control, not for justice. And just get a load of how massive his operation is. Moriarty isn't leading some little gang. He's commanding an entire army of criminals. He's got thieves, spies, assassins, you name it. He's got a specialist for it. But here's the kicker. He never gets his own hands dirty. He's the general, sitting way back in his command center, pulling the strings from the shadows. That's what makes him pretty much untouchable. This is what makes their rivalry so perfect. Think about it. Holmes works from the bottom up. He finds one tiny clue and builds his case from there. Moriarty? He's completely top down. He designs the entire criminal system from the get-go. Holmes is all about justice. Moriarty is all about power. They are literally two sides of the same brilliant coin. Perfect opposites. So, you've got these two titans operating in the same city, one for order, the other for total chaos. A collision isn't just a possibility, it's completely inevitable. And so Holmes dives into what is, without a doubt, his most dangerous case ever. He starts digging into financial records, tailing associates. Slowly but surely, he's mapping out Moriarty's entire web. But there's a huge problem. Moriarty is a ghost. His genius is that he plans the crimes. He doesn't do them. There's no paper trail, no fingerprints, nothing that actually ties back to him. But of course, Moriarty has his own spies. He knows he's being hunted. And what does he do? Does he run? Does he hide? Nope. He does something absolutely audacious. He walks right into the lion's den. He pays Holmes a personal visit at 221B Baker Street. Can you just imagine the tension in that room? The two most brilliant minds in London finally face to face. And Moriarty's threat, it's not loud or angry. It's delivered with this calm, almost polite, chilling tone. This isn't some thug trying to sound tough. This is one chess grandmaster giving a calculated warning to the other. It's a very clear promise of what's coming if Holmes doesn't back off. But Sherlock Holmes? He doesn't back down. For him, this isn't just another case anymore.
This is a battle for the very soul of London. He absolutely refuses to be intimidated. And right there, in that moment, their quiet intellectual war just explodes into an all-out fight. The game is well and truly on. And Moriarty doesn't waste any time. His threats immediately turn into action. All of a sudden, Holmes is the target. A brick just happens to fall and barely misses him. A carriage tries to run him down in the street. You get the picture. These are not accidents. These are assassination attempts. Plain and simple. It's a clear message. Moriarty will do whatever it takes to get Holmes out of the picture for good. At this point, Holmes realizes he's a sitting duck in London. If he's going to survive and finish this case, he has to run. And that sets us up for the final climactic chapter of this whole rivalry. And this kicks off one of the greatest chase scenes in all of literature. Holmes and his good friend Watson, they flee London and race across Europe. But Moriarty, he's always just one step behind them. It's not just a physical chase. It's like a chess game being played across an entire continent, and it all leads to one final, dramatic showdown at a remote waterfall in Switzerland. You know, this final confrontation at Reichenbach Falls, it felt like it was always meant to happen. It was the only way their conflict would end. And this is so much more than just a physical fight. This is the ultimate showdown. It's deduction versus strategy. It's order versus chaos. It's these two incredible minds locked in a final, desperate battle. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. When you have a war between two minds this powerful, what's the real price of victory? Is taking down your enemy worth it if you risk destroying yourself in the process? It's a powerful thought, and it's what makes this rivalry so completely timeless. All right, let's dive into one of the most epic rivalries in all of fiction, the final, deadly showdown between the world's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes, and the absolute Napoleon of crime, Professor Moriarty. And you've got to understand, this was so much more than just a chase. It was a silent, high-stakes war fought entirely with intellect. This quote just nails it. It sets the stage for a battle of wits where the very soul of London was on the line. So, where does this all kick off? Not at the edge of a cliff, but with a frantic, desperate chase all across Europe. Holmes and Watson are on the run, and Moriarty's vast network is hunting them down at every turn. It's like a continent-sized chess match. And the stakes here are, well, they're everything. For Moriarty, this isn't just about avoiding jail. As long as Holmes is breathing, his entire criminal empire, his life's work is in danger of being completely torn down. To win, Moriarty has to make sure Holmes is gone, for good. This is where you really get to see these two incredible minds at work. Holmes is throwing everything he's got at him. Clever disguises, fake routes, pure misdirection. But Moriarty's genius is just staggering. It's like he can read Holmes's mind, anticipating every single move. It becomes this relentless, exhausting battle just to stay one step ahead. So, after all this running, the chase finally comes to an end. And where? The Swiss Alps. Holmes knows the game is up. He knows this beautiful but incredibly treacherous landscape is going to be the final stage. This is the end game. And you have to appreciate the setting itself is practically a character in this story. Reichenbach Falls. I mean, just picture it. This roaring, powerful, absolutely terrifying waterfall crashing down a jagged cliff. It's stunning, for sure, but it's also got this raw, untamed danger to it. You couldn't ask for a more perfect, dramatic stage for a final showdown like this. And here's where Holmes makes a really tough call. A brilliant one, but tough. He sends his best friend, Dr. Watson, away on a completely fake mission. Now, this isn't a betrayal, it's the ultimate act of protection. Holmes knew exactly what he was walking into, and he was determined to face his greatest enemy completely alone to keep his friend out of the crossfire. The second Watson is out of sight, there he is, Professor Moriarty. He's finally got him cornered. The running is over. Right there at the edge of this massive abyss, the two greatest minds of their time finally face off. The real battle is about to begin. But see, this isn't just about two guys fighting on a cliff. No, it's way bigger than that. This is a clash of philosophies. You've got Holmes, who stands for justice, for order, for rationality. And then you have Moriarty, his perfect, dark reflection, an agent of chaos, driven by pure ambition and criminal genius. They really are two sides of the very same coin. So what happens? Well, according to the story we're told, they barely even speak. I mean, what's left to say, right? Holmes has everything he needs to bring Moriarty's entire network down, and there's just no way a man like Moriarty is going to let himself be arrested. A brutal, desperate struggle breaks out on that narrow, slippery ledge, and it ends with both of them tumbling over the side into that roaring waterfall below.
So that's it, right? A tragic end. The world is left in shock, believing it's lost its greatest champion. Let's talk about how the story was supposed to have ended. Imagine being Watson. He rushes back, and all he finds is his friend's walking stick and a final goodbye note. There's no sign of Holmes, no sign of Moriarty. And yeah, Moriarty's criminal empire just crumbles without him, but what a cost. The world believes Sherlock Holmes made the ultimate sacrifice. And for years, that was the story. That was the official version. A hero's tragic death. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if the final move in this incredible chess game was something no one, not even his closest friends, saw coming? Because, you see, the real story of what went down at Reichenbach Falls is way more clever, way more Holmes than anyone ever imagined. This is where the legend really takes off. Get this. Holmes survived. He was alive the whole time. In this absolutely incredible twist, he used his expert knowledge of Baritsu, a form of Japanese martial arts, to break Moriarty's hold. So while the professor plunged to his death, Holmes was actually clinging to the cliff face, hidden just out of sight. He'd done it. He'd won. And faking his own death? Absolutely brilliant. The ultimate strategic move. By letting the world think he was dead, he basically became a ghost. He could move freely, in total secret, spending the next few years hunting down every single last remnant of Moriarty's organization. He didn't just beat his enemy, he systematically erased his entire legacy. When you strip it all away, that's what this whole rivalry was really about. You have these two men, both with brains that are just off the charts, but they stood on completely opposite sides of a moral line. For Holmes, that incredible intellect came with a responsibility to use it for justice, for truth. But for Moriarty, intellect was just a tool, a weapon to gain power and control. And that really leaves us with one big, fascinating question, doesn't it? Moriarty wasn't just some random bad guy. He was the one person who could truly challenge Holmes, who pushed him to be even greater than he already was. It makes you wonder, without an enemy as brilliant as Moriarty, would Sherlock Holmes have become the legend we know today? Maybe, just maybe, the true measure of a hero is found in the shadow of their greatest foe.